Hello everyone, you are welcome to the final revision for Waec 2020 that will be taken tomorrow. And I've been doing this for the past 3 months for people that are preparing for Waec, even when we are in lockdown. And many people have benefited from this. And this is the final one I'm doing. And I pray that Lord will reward your hard work with success in Jesus' name. Now, I'll be solving more than 20 questions in mathematics. I'll be doing that also for other subjects. So if you are new on this channel, I would like you to follow me very well. Listen to what you are going to be saying, and I will be giving you advices on what to be done as we move on. Now, welcome to I+ Academy. My name is Olanipekun, and I'm the CEO of I+ Academy. Something new is coming on iPlusAcademy.com. Please follow us every now and then so that you can really get what is happening later. Okay, if you are new on this channel, I would like you to press the bell, subscribe, give us thumbs up, comment, and there's so many other things that you can do for us so that you can encourage us to do more videos so that people can benefit from this. Now let's look at the first question. Question 1 and question 2. You can practice all these questions over and over and over and over again. Now the first question says, find the equation of a straight line that passes through the point 2, 6 with gradient 5. Now you notice that we have a point and we have a gradient. The general formula for a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient, where c is the intercept at y-axis. So if you have something like this, this is the intercept c, while the gradient is m. Please note all this. Good. So find the equation of a straight line that passes through the point Q2, 6 with gradient 5. Now for question 1, what we are given here is the coordinate x1 equals to 6 equals to 2 and y1 equals to 6. Very good. And the gradient we have equals to 5. Now, anytime you are dealing with a point and one gradient, the formula we are going to be using will be this. Please know this formula. Y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So we now have y. From what we did, our y1 is 6. And the gradient we have was 5. And we have x1 as 2, right? So what do you do next? You open the bracket. So we have y minus 6 equals 5 times x will give us 5x minus 10. So we have y equals 5x minus 10 plus 6. So the general equation for that line passing through 6, 2, 6 with gradient 5 will now be equals to y equals 5x minus 10 plus 6 will give us minus 4. So this is the equation of that line that is passing through the point 2, 6 with gradient 5. You will notice that this answer looks like what? The general equation of a straight line. You can see. So this is like the intercept. So that is how you know if you are correct. So that is a question 1. Now for question 2, it says that find the equation of a straight line that passes through the point 5, 7 and 4, 8. 5, 7 and 4, 8. It means 5 is x1, 7 is y1, 4 is x2, 8 is y2. Remember that coordinates are usually represented as x, y. Very good. So let's solve that question now. Question 2. Now the question says, find the equation that is passing. Anytime it's passing through 2 points without a gradient given, we are going to use this formula: y minus y1 over x minus x1 equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that is the formula we are going to use. And what are we given there? We have our y1 as 7. You can go and check again. We have our x1 as 5. And our y2, we have it as 8. y1 is 7 over x2, we have it as 4, then minus 5. So everything will now be y minus 7 over x minus 5 equals 8 minus 1 will give us 8 minus 7 is 1. 8 minus 7 will give us 1, right? Then 4 minus 5 will give us what? Minus 1. What do we do next? Cross multiply. So if you cross multiply very well, we give us minus 1 times y will give us minus y. Minus 7 times minus 1 will give us plus 7. Then equals 1 times x will give us x. Then 1 times minus 5 will give us that. Such that we now have collect like terms. So we have minus y equals x minus 5 minus 7. Look at that very well. Once you are solving question, you can go back to see if you are doing the right thing. So we have minus y equals x minus 5 minus 7 will give us what? Minus 12. Very good. So for us to eliminate the negative before y, we multiply everything by negative. That becomes y equals minus x plus 12. And that is the answer. And that is the answer. That is the line of the equation that is passing through 2 points. Is that okay? Very good. So don't forget that. Now, I told you that anytime you see a question, the first thing you do is what? You dictate the topic that you are given. This topic is under variation, and this is direct variation. I will quickly talk about direct, inverse, and joint, because we have a question on partial later. Now, talking about direct variation, it means x equals x varies as y. And for us to change the sign of proportionality, that becomes x equals what? Ky. And this is where you take your law, your relationship, and the formula that connects x and y. But if I say x varies inversely as y, to be 1 over y, right? And that becomes what? X. To change the sign of proportionality, we have x equals k over y. So this is where we take our law, our relationship, or the formula that connects x and y. Now, talking about joint variation, it could be 2 direct or more, or 1 direct and 1 inverse, or the case may be. For example, I can say x varies directly as a product of y and z. Anytime you have more than 2 variables, this is now joint. As in, for us to remove that sign, that becomes x equals what? K, y, z. I can equally have joint this way. X varies directly as y and inversely as z. So this is also joint. It comprises both direct and inverse. So we can have x equals, to remove the sign of proportionality, k, y, then z. So I have been able to take you through direct variation, inverse variation, and joint variation. Now let's solve some questions on them. And this comes out very well as well. Yes. Now look at this question. Okay. The question says, x varies directly. That is direct variation, right? as the square of y. Look at that, square. They can put anything. Just follow the question. What's the next thing we do? The next thing is to remove the sign of proportionality. So we have ky squared, right? Now look at the question. When x is 50, let's go there now. We are looking for the constant now. Y is 5, so we have 5 squared, right? So we have 50 equals k times 5 squared is what? 25. What do we do next? We calculate k. Divide both sides by what? By 25. So we have 50 divided by 25 equals to k. In this case, our k becomes what? 2. So that is a constant or proportionality. It can come out also in what? In exam. Now the question says, A, find the law that connects x and y. So you go back to this second step. So the law that connects x and y will now be x equals 2, then what? Y squared. So that is the law that connects them. Now, without knowing the law, you can solve the next question. Find x, look at that, when y equals 4. So x is unknown. You go back to the law. The law says 2y squared. Therefore, we now have 2 into 4 squared. And that becomes 2 times 16. And that becomes what? 32. So that means x equals to 32 when y equals to 4. I want to believe that you have understood that now. So go and practice more before the end time. Now look at the second question. Look at this. P is partly constant. Yeah, is partly constant. So to solve this is partial variation. So the question says P is partly constant. You pick any constant of your choice. Let's pick A. And partly varies directly as Q. Anytime nothing is mentioned as regards direct or inverse, it is what? It is direct. So when P is 120, so we have two constants here now. The two constants are what? A and B. So partial variation, we always have two constants. Very good. Now let's move on. When P is 120, look at that. A plus Q is 40, that becomes 40B. This is equation 1. Is that okay? Now look at the equation 2 you are going to get now. When P is 120, when P is 200, look at that, 200 equals A plus Q is what? 20. So we have 20B, equation 2. Very good. Now we can solve equation 1 and equation 2 simultaneously. Why do you think we can eliminate straight? We can eliminate A because they have the same coefficients of 1, 1. Is that okay? So let's subtract equation. Let's use the bigger one so that it can be easy for us. Equation 2 minus equation 1. But you can use equation 1 minus equation 2. It depends. So 200 minus 120. That gives us 80. Very good. A minus A, that gives us 0. Remember, I'm starting from down, equation 2 to equation 1. So it will be 20 minus 40B. And that gives us what? Minus 20B, correct. That is minus 20B. Again, 200 minus 120, that is 80. 20B minus 40B, that gives us minus 20B. So what do we do? Divide by minus 20, divide by minus 20. So that what? 0 cancels 0. So my B equals what here now? minus 4. Very good. Now, substitute. This is simultaneous equation we are doing here. Substitute minus 4 for what? For B in equation any one of your choice. Let's use equation 1. And equation 1 is 120 equals A plus 40B, right? So what do we do? Anywhere you see B, you put minus 4. So we have 120 equals A plus 40 into minus 1, right? So we have 120 equals what here? A plus times negative will give us negative 4. Let me write that well for you to see. So that gives us minus 40, such that A will now be equal to what? 120 minus, our B was 4. That was a mistake from here again. Our B was minus 4. So we have to check when you are solving question to be correct what you are doing. So plus times minus will give us minus. 40 times 4 will give us what? 160. Correct. Such that we are going to be having 160 will go to the other side. So we are going to be having 120 plus 160. And what is that going to give us? Yes. Can somebody tell us what is that going to be? Yes, very good. Very good. You can try more. We give us 280. Correct. So our A is 280. Our B is minus 4. So that means we have calculated A to be 280 and our B to be minus 4. So the law becomes that join them together becomes P equals what now? 280. B is minus, so minus 4Q. So this is our what? Our law that connects them together. Now, what does the question say? Let's go back again to see what does the question say. Find the relationship between P and Q. We have found that. Find P when Q is 30. Find P when Q is 30. So that is our next thing. Find P when Q is 30. So we have P is now equals to 280 minus 4 times 30. So that becomes what now? 280 minus times plus is minus 120. So we have 280 minus 120 will give us what? 160. And that is the value of P. So we have been able to do this question, looking for the law that connects them and the value of P. Now let's look at the next question. Now, which topic is this? This is measuration, right? It's dealing with sphere. Now, you have to quickly know that a sphere is like a ball, and it has a formula. Like a ball. Volume of a sphere, please, you have to know all these formulas. 4/3 pi r cube. I have done this in my previous videos. You can go and check them. Then we have surface area is 4 pi r squared. Please note this. But look at the question. A hollow sphere has a volume. That means the volume is K centimeter cube. Pardon me, this is centimeter cube. Okay. And surface area, that was a mistake. Surface area of K centimeter squared. Calculate its diameter. Very good. I love this question. And this is a Waec question as well. So what do we do? Volume is what? 4/3 pi r cubed. Remember that this is what? K. Is that okay? Then surface area as well. The surface area of a sphere is what? 4 pi r squared. And that is also K from the question. That means equation 1 equals what? Equation 2. So we can equate them together in this case. That is 4 over 3 pi r cubed equals, so always look at the question ahead of what you are solving. Pi will cancel pi. Is it not? So let's look at what to do next there. Now we have 4 over 3 r cubed equals 4 r cubed. So what do we do next there? Now look at this. We are going to be having, let's repeat what we have left. We have 4 over 3 here, r cubed. Then we have 4 r squared because pi has cancelled pi. So I'm looking for r. If I can get my r, I can get my what? My diameter, right? Very good. So what do? We can cross multiply. So that you can see that when you cross, that becomes 4 r cubed equals 4 times 3 r squared. So this 4 we cancel this 4. So we have r cubed equals 3r squared. What do we do next? Divide by r squared. Divide by r squared. These are terms to what? To loss of indices. R is common. When you are dividing, what do? You subtract the index. So this cancel this, such that r equals to 3. Now, having known r, the radius, remember that what? Diameter equals 2 times radius. So diameter we are looking for becomes 2 times 3, and that becomes what? 6 centimeters. Please don't forget your unit. It's very, very important. Your unit is very, very important. Good. Next question. Now look at this. Diagonal of a rhombus are respectively 6 centimeters and 12 centimeters. Find its area. We have different ways to calculate area of a rhombus. The first one is when you are given diameter, the formula will just be half times diameter 1 times diameter 2. Sometimes they will not give you diameter. They will give you the size of the rhombus and they will give you an angle. So in that case, your answer will be L squared. That means psi squared, then what? Times sine theta. So 2 ways of looking for that. But let's see the one that matters to us now. The diagonal of a rhombus are this and this. That is diagonal. So area becomes what? Half. The first diameter is 16. Second diameter is 12. So we can now have what? 2 here 1, 2 here 8. 8 times 12 will give us 96. Don't forget your unit. Centimeter squared. Very good. Now the next one. Hey, look at this question. We call it a composite shape. Now, a solid consists of a cone. You have to read to understand what they are saying. Of a cone, it has been said, an hemisphere. And what is an hemisphere? What is a hemisphere? Hemisphere is just half of a sphere. And the volume of hemisphere from the sphere we just did will be 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Please go and learn that. Why surface area is 2 pi r squared. Then the total surface area of a sphere is 3 pi r squared. Please jot all these things down. But in this case, what do we have to calculate? What do we have to calculate in this case? Volume of the shape. Now, volume of the shape naturally will be volume of the shapes we have inside. And what we have? Volume of cone. We are asked that it consists of what? A cone plus what? Volume of hemisphere. Is that okay? Very good. And what's the volume of cone? We have done this very well in our previous videos. 1 over 3 pi r squared h plus volume of hemisphere, the one I gave you now, 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Please, you have to follow the pi you are given. I'm using 22 over 7. So what could it be? 1 over 3 times 22 over 7. What do you think is the radius of this shape that we are given here? The radius, they gave us the diameter of the hemisphere to be 6. And if diameter is 6, that means the radius becomes what? 3. Because radius equals diameter over 2. And that will be what? 6 divided by 2. That will be 3 centimeters. So radius of hemisphere and radius of cone, they will be the same thing. So we have 3 squared. The height of the cone is 10 centimeters plus 2 over 3 times 22 over 7 times 3 raised to power 3. Very good. So let's move on now to what to solve. So we're going to be looking at that. So if you multiply very well, you'll be getting 22 times 9. Please check the last slide. Then 7 times 3 times 7 will give us 21. Plus 2 times 24. 2 times 22. Good. Then 3 raised to power 3 will give us 27. Then we have 3 times 7, 21. Now, if you multiply the top, you'll be getting 1980 over 21. If you multiply this, you'll be getting 1188. Please confirm all the multiplications. So the LCM is 21. So we have 1980 plus 1188. And the answer becomes what? 3168 over 21. So the final answer will now be 150.857. Now you have to check the accuracy of what you have to approximate to, and be very careful with that. Let's approximate it to 3 significant figures. That becomes, or to 1 decimal place rather, 150.9 centimeter cube, and that is it. Yeah, look at this question. A minor arc subtends angle 110 degree at the center of a circle of radius 6 centimeter. Find the length of the major arc. Now we have 2 types of arc in a circle. If this is a circle and we have the part of the circumference is called an arc. So this is a minor arc with this angle here. And we have the major arc here with the angle will now be what? 360 minus theta. And the length of an arc, the formula is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. But length of major arc, because it's not suspending theta 360 minus theta over 360 now. So this is now going to be the formula for major arc. Is that okay? And what do we have? 360 minus 110, because that is the angle we have there, over 360 times 2. Follow the pi you are given, 22 over 7, and the radius is 6. So if you do this very well, you're going to be getting, just multiply 26.19 centimeter, please. That is it. So it's just about the formula. You want to know the formula, you are okay. Is that okay? Now look at this. I'm going to explain this in detail so that you can understand better. Now look at what we have here. This is part of circles. I'll really explain the circle that we have there. Now, this is what? An arc, right? This is a radius. This is a radius. Now, the region formed between 2 radii and an arc is called a sector, right? Good. Now, if I have a chord, is a line not passing through the center, this is a chord. Now, an arc and a chord will always form what? A segment. So this is a segment. Is that okay? This is a segment. They can ask to calculate length of that. We have done segment before. You can go to our Facebook page. You will see what we did live last week. We solved so many questions on in Waec past question as well. You can go live and check all that. We have done all that very well, and I gave all the formulas for sector, segment, and all that. So this is a chord. Look at this question. To calculate the angle here, they didn't give us the angle, the length of the arc. They didn't give us the area of a sector or segment, but we have a chord here, and length of a chord is 2r. Like I said, always interpret the question ahead of time. Is that okay? Very good. So that will now be, the radius is 20, and we have sine. We are looking for the angle theta over 2, and we have been given the length to be what? To be 28. If you check very well, that is 28. Is that okay? So what do? Divide through by 2 times 20, and that is 40. Divide by 40. So that 28 divided by that will give us 0.7. And that we have sine theta over 2. Now to remove sine from the right hand side, what are you going to do? You will do sine inverse. You do sine inverse. You press your shift, then you press sine, then you put 0.7. So we have theta over 2, right? So what are we going to get? So that will now give us what? Theta over 2 equals sine inverse of 0.7 will give us 44.23. So that theta, when you cross multiply, 44.23 times 2, and that gives us what? 88.46, which can be interpreted as 88.5 to 3 significant figures degree. So please note that you have to know the formulas of all those things. Is that okay? Now let's look at this. Find the perimeter of a circle if its area is 706.5 centimeters squared. Now I will have to explain this again. Circle. The perimeter of a circle is also called the circumference, right? So perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r, which can also be pi d. Is that okay? While the area of a circle is pi r squared. Is that okay? Now find the perimeter of a circle if its area is this. Now they are giving us area, and area is pi r squared, and we have it as 706.5. Using pi as what you are given, please, you have to follow it in the exam strictly. What do? We can cross multiply here such that we have 706.5 times what? Times 7, then divided by 22 to get our r squared. Is that okay? So what do we get there? So 706.5 times 7. So what do we get? We are going to be getting, we are going to be getting r squared will now be 22, if we divide very well, 0.795. So that r will now be square root of 22 for 0.795. So that r becomes what? 14.99. We can be approximated to a whole number of degree to be this. To a whole number. Please, if you are watching this, please, I would like you to share the video to your friends. Now look at this question also. This is similar shapes. Similar shapes. Two similar jugs have height of 4 centimeters. There is a jug. Look at the jug here. You can draw it so that you can understand better. Jug. Good. So the height of this one is 4 centimeters. And there is another jug. The height is 6 centimeters. Look at that. If the capacity of the smaller jug is 50, capacity means volume. Please note that. It means volume. Calculate the capacity of this one that we are looking for the bigger one. Is that okay? So, two similar jugs, they are similar. It's just that one is bigger than the other. Looking at them, bigger than the other doesn't mean that they are not similar. So we can look for the relationship between the lengths. So that's what we call scalar factor. Scalar factor has to do with what? The length. We call it length factor or scalar factor or scale factor. So scale factor has to do with length, side, radius, and all that. Let's use the bigger one over the smaller one. Is that okay? So that becomes 2. You have 3. So the relationship between the size is 3:2. Because you are looking for capacity, we need volume factor as well. We need volume factor as well. And volume factor is the cube of linear factor or scale factor. And that becomes what? 27/4. 3 raised power 3, 27. 2 raised power 3. No, this is 8. You have to be very careful. This is 8. So 27/8, right? So that is 8. 27/8. So let's move on from there. What do we have next? Now, because we have known the what? The volume factor as 27/8. So we can move from there. So the volume factor is 27/8. Yes. Now 27 is for the bigger one. So we have capacity or the volume of the bigger one over capacity or volume of the smaller one. So in this case, we are having 27/8 equals, we are looking for the bigger one, right? So volume of bigger one, and we are giving the volume of the smaller one to be 50. When you cross multiply, we have 8 VB equals 27 times 50. So if you divide by 8, so that volume of the bigger one will now be equals to, what is 27 times 50 going to give us? I think that will give us 1350. Then if you divide by 8 now, that gives us what? If you divide by 8, you'll be getting 168.75. So we can be written as 168.8 centimeter cube. So that makes sense? Very good. Let's look at the next question. Yes, we have come to logarithm. Now, I explained this in detail in one of our YouTube questions or classes that we have. And I did it also in Facebook Live. You can go and check our Facebook channel. We have all these there for you. Now, anytime you have negative sign in logarithm, what do? You divide. So we have log 3x plus 1. Because we have negative, we are going to divide over 2x plus 5 equals to 0. I equally gave all the laws of logarithm. There is a very peculiar one that has log b to a equals to y. To remove logarithm, that becomes a raised by y equals to b. Look at that. Your base will remain, the y will come up, then we have that. Is that okay? So in this case, we have done this. So that means it's in base 10. So like a is remaining here, base 10 will be remaining. Y is coming up, so 0 will be coming up. Then equals to everything we have here, right? All over 2x plus 5. Now anything raised by 0 is what? 1. Very good. So we have 1 equals 3x plus 1 over 2x plus 5. What do we do? Cross multiply. So we have 2x plus 5 equals 3x plus 1. So collect like terms. 2x minus 3x equals to 1 minus 5. So minus x equals minus 4. Negative cancel negative. So x becomes what? 4. So that will be the answer for that. Remember all the laws to go through them one after the other again. Good. Now let's look at the next question. Look at this. This one is also negative. So remember, when you have negative, these are Waec questions. You divide that our hands were able to what? To touch. You divide again. So we have 2x plus 1 over 3x minus 2 3x minus 2, then we have equals to 1. So base 10 is common and we have a negative sign between them. You divide. Using that law again, you're going to be having 10 raised by 1 equals 2x. You're going to be having 2x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. Is that okay? So what do we do? You cross multiply. 10 raised by 1 is 10, right? Equals, okay. So we have 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 2. So if you cross multiply, you're going to be getting what now? If you cross multiply, you're going to be getting 10 times 3x minus 2 equals, you must be very careful when you are solving question tomorrow. So 10 times 3x will give us 30x minus 20 equals to 2x plus 1. So collect like terms. 30x minus 2x, 1 plus 20. So we have 28x equals to what? 21. Divide by 28. Divide by 28. So that x becomes what? 3. 7 in 21, 3. 7 in 28, that is 4. 3 over 4. Is that okay? That is it. So let's look at another question here. I have another one that I want to write with my hands. It just came to my mind now. Now look at this. Log 4x plus 1 base 10 plus log 2 equals 0, right? Now every time you have plus in between them, what we do, you multiply. So we have log 10 is common. You're going to be having 4x plus 1, right? Then times 2 equals to 0. In the same vein, 10 raised by 0 equals to 4x plus 1 times 2. 10 raised by 0 is 1. If you open the bracket, we have 8x plus 2. So that becomes 8x is now 1 minus 2. So that 8x is now equals to what? Minus 1. X equals to minus 1 over 8. Yeah. So let's move on.